Yo, what's up with y'all boys and girls, man? Hey, it's Jay Briggs here from Pickdawgz.com, continuing to cook up this NFL action. Y'all know what we do here. We cook up every single NFL game every single week, man. We've been doing it since the preseason. We're going all the way through the Super Bowl, man. So smash that like button for your guy. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and buckle up. Let's get ready to continue to make some money in the NFL. We've been very profitable these last few weeks. Let's keep it rolling. If you're looking for my premium plays, the plays that I personally have the most money on, the plays that I'm most comfortable with, those are over at Pickdawgz Premium. There's a link in the description. There's also a link to my Twitter, man. If you want to follow me there, follow me, X, whatever you call it. I'm usually active there all day. Any questions, concerns, anything like that, hit me over there. But we got a nice schedule of games here on Sunday. Finna go through every last one of them right here, right now, man. And without further ado, let's do just that. Let's keep it rolling, and let's hop right into tonight's NFL action. First game up, man, we got the New England Patriots out on the road facing the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins laying 9 at the crib. The Patriots were the team that got the dub last week, though, and I was thoroughly surprised to see that happen. You know, in hindsight, not really. I've been harping on Buffalo for quite some time, telling you guys I don't think that team is as good as advertised. But no way did I think they were going to lose to the Patriots. So I guess I was surprised. The reason I thought that is because, man, the Patriots, we saw them get took behind the shed by Dallas 38-3, worst loss in Bill Belichick's tenure. And then they followed that up 34-0 with losing to a New Orleans team that I don't think is that good. Lost to the Raiders team that I don't think is that good. So, yeah, I was surprised that Mac Jones looked good last week, put it together, and they beat Buffalo. Thing is now they're going on the road facing a Miami Dolphins team in a bounce back spot. Yes, I know we all saw Miami get beat last week in primetime by the Eagles. They got beat pretty good as well, 31-17, failed to cover. The thing with this Dolphins team, as you see on the screen, they're 5-2 and 5-2 against the number. What we've seen with Miami, when they go up against good teams meaning teams above 500, Buffalo, Philly, they lost and did not cover. But what we have seen is when they go up against bad teams, oh, that's when they run up the score. That's when they look really good. And that's what we have here. We got the Dolphins against a bad team. And I'm not overcomplicating this one, man. I'm taking the Dolphins. I'm going to lay the 9. Carolina, they ran up the score even though they looked bad early. They ran up the score on the Giants, ran up the score on Denver. We've seen them do that on bad teams. And they're at home in a bounce back spot. They're getting healthier. There is some guys banged up, but I think a lot of these guys will play. I think the Patriots are still a bad football team. I think we see the same Mac Jones we're accustomed to. I think he turns the football over. I just think the Dolphins jump out and don't let the Patriots back in it. I'm going to lay the points here with Miami at home. Next game up, man, we got one of the best games on this week. It's a really tough one as well. We got the Jags laying 2 out on the road on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Two teams I've been on a ton to start the year. Two teams profitable, 5-2 ATS, 4-2 ATS. Should be a really good game, man. I'm gonna be honest. Personally, I'm probably not gonna bet this game, but if I were to, here's my thoughts. I think the Jags are the better team. I do. I understand why the line is 2, but I will say Mike Tomlin at this home underdog is very, very profitable. All the stats would say take the Jags in this, but I've thrown those stats out more times than not when looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers because that is just how they are under Mike Tomlin. They've been out yarded in most of their games, but it just doesn't seem to matter. They get beaten time of possession, it seems like. It just doesn't matter. This defense is solid. Their culture is one of the absolute best in the NFL. I like the Steelers a ton. I think Kenny Pickett is getting better by the week. All that said, I think the Jags are just the better team. I'm really high on the Jags. If you go back to week 1, I remember telling you guys, I think the Jags could be the number 1 team in the AFC because of how bad their division is. And in most of their games, when I looked at their schedule, I think they're the better team. This Jags team is good, man. this is a tough spot. I love betting Mike Tomlin as this home underdog, man. It is a very profitable spot. But tonight, in this one, I am going to take the Jags. I'm going to lay the 2. It's just my thoughts, and that's how I'm feeling. Next game up, man, we got the Battle of New York. We got the Jets and the Giants. Nobody's home. Nobody's away, man. This is both of their stadium. I don't care. Should be a decent game. I mean, both teams are mediocre at best. We got the Jets laying 3 in this one, and I will want to grab the points. I'm going to take the Giants plus the 3, or I'm going to take them straight up on the money line. Here's why. I just think getting points or taking a shot at the plus money in a rivalry game and two teams that are 50-50 is the better place to be. That's my opinion. I've been on the Jets. I've been on them 3 straight weeks. I was on them against Kansas City, Denver, and Philadelphia, but I'm hopping off here. I will say Zach Wilson has improved. I will say that this defense has looked really good, and coming off of a bye, you would think this is a spot where they keep it rolling. I just don't see it that way. I think this is a little hiccup spot, to be honest. And I think what I saw from the Giants and their defense last week will be able to slow down this Jets offense. Sometimes the bye week is not good. Sometimes you get the clicking in that bye week and kind of mess things up a little bit. And I think that's what happens here with the Jets. I'm taking the Giants here plus money. I'm taking the Giants here plus the points. I like what I saw from Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor, this was interesting. Take it for what you will. Tyrod Taylor was the first black quarterback in Giants franchise history to get a win. I thought that was insane. Hey, I think he gets another one. Give me the Giants plus the points and money line. Here it is. Next game up, man, we got the Atlanta Falcons out on the road facing the Tennessee Titans. Falcons road favorites laying 2.5 here in this one. This game is kind of eerie, similar to that last one I was just talking about. The reason being is the Titans are really, really profitable at this home underdog, role under Mike Vrabel. They feast in this role. The Falcons, they're not the best ATS team, as you see this season. They're 2-5. They win games, but spread, I usually feel nervous laying points with these teams. Here's my thoughts on this game, though. Kind of like last game. I know that the numbers say that this is a Titans type spot, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if they covered, lost by 1 or 2 points, or won the game outright. I would not be surprised. But me personally, I think the right side is to take the Atlanta Falcons. I do think they win this game, and I could really see them winning comfortably. I think this is the game that blows up the Titans. We've been hearing a ton of trade rumors about the Titans, man. Derrick Henry probably going here. Derrick Henry probably going there. This is probably that week. This Tennessee Titans team, I just think that it's time for a rebuild. I think it's that time. This Falcons defense, I think, is underrated, and I think the offense, Desmond Ridder and company, can do enough to get this game done. Laying points with the Falcons on the road is a scary place to be. They're 2-5 ATS. But I do think it's the right place to be. I do think they win this game. I do think they are the better team. And right now, I would say they are the best team in the NFC South. If they want to keep a firm grasp of first place there, they have to win the games they're supposed to, and this is one of them. The Titans will be out here looking sweet in them Oilers jerseys. They're going to be having those Houston Oilers throwback jerseys. Mike Vrabel is profitable, very profitable at the home underdog spot. But I think the right side is the Falcons. I'm going to lay the points here in this one. Next game up, man, we got the battle of the 2 rookie quarterbacks, man. We got the Houston Texans out on the road facing the Carolina Panthers. Texans road favorites. They're laying over 3. They're laying 3.5. I'm taking the Panthers in this one. I am. I think the Panthers mess around win this game straight up. I know that sounds crazy. They're 0-6, 0-5-1 against the number. The Texans, they've been a trendy pick a lot of weeks. They've been covering spreads 4-2. And the Texans are the better team. I'm not sitting here trying to argue that the Panthers are the better team. But bad teams don't stay terrible forever, in my mind, in the NFL. We see this happen all the time where there's that off week where the bad team just comes up, sneaks an opponent, and pulls one out. We saw the Panthers, open up the game, their last game, really well against the Miami Dolphins. They're coming off of a bye in this one. I think we see them play well coming off this bye. I do. I think they had a chance to get healthy. They're at home. I think this is a spot where they can get their first win of the season. I know the Texans have played really well. CJ Stroud has looked like the better quarterback. He's looked better than Bryce Young. But it's the NFL. This is any given Sunday. And the Texans are still a bad football team. They're 3-3. Their future is bright. I like the addition of D'Amico Ryans as their head coach. You can see the culture changing. But they're still a bad football team, and bad football teams can still lose any given day. And I think they lose here to the Carolina Panthers. I think the Panthers get on the board, get their first win of the year. I'm going to take them plus the points, and I'm going to take them straight up on the money line here in this one. Next game up, man, we got the Los Angeles Rams out on the road facing my favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas laying 7 in this one. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I already bet this game. I bet it early in the week when the line was 6.5, and I do think there's a possibility this line gets back to 6.5 here in these next coming hours or on Sunday. I can see people betting the Rams in this spot. The Rams have been a profitable team for people. 4-2-1 ATS. Matthew Stafford, people fall in love with Cooper Kupp, Puka Nakua. I'm part of it, fantasy. I'm a fantasy guy. This Rams team, I said at the beginning of the year, if you go back and run the tape, I said they're going to be better than people think. Many people thought they were going to be one of the worst teams in football. I said, nah, they still got a Super Bowl winning head coach and quarterback, and they got good weapons and, still got one of the best players in football, Aaron Donald. Problem here is they're going up against a Dallas Cowboys team that is really, really good, and the Rams are mediocre at best. The Cowboys are really, really good, man. They have won 10 straight games at home. This team just doesn't lose at home, and they usually win fairly comfortably. Last time we seen them at home, what did they do? They blew out a New England Patriots team 38-3. Before that, they blew out a New York Jets team 30-10. I know those are bad teams, but I think the Rams are just slightly better than those two teams, in my opinion. I'm getting the Cowboys, who play extremely good football at home, off of a bye, going up against a Rams team who just played 3 straight games at home. Philly, Arizona, Pittsburgh, lost 2 of 3. This team really could use their bye. Haven't had it yet. It just sets up as a bad spot for the Rams, in my opinion. I'm taking the Cowboys. Some of y'all going to call it biasness, and to a certain extent, it might be, but to a certain extent, I think I know my team better than many people do. I'm not a hater. Many people hate on Dak. Many people hate on this Cowboys team, and I get it. There is some argument to that. But this is still a team that has won, again, 10 straight home games. This is a team that has had back-to-back 12-win seasons. This is a team that is a solid and really good football team, and I think the defense is the best unit. I think they show up and get after Matthew Stafford in this one. I like Dallas. I think they win comfortably. If you can get 6.5, get 6.5. But I think you're okay at 7. I do think they win double digits, 10 plus. I'm going to lay the points with my favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys. Here it is. Next game up, man, we got the Minnesota Vikings out on the road facing the Green Bay Packers. Line's even, man. Division matchup. I think this game is going to be huge moving forward. We're going to look back at this game as a spot to see, if either of these teams can catch the Detroit Lions for the division. We saw the Lions hiccup last week in Baltimore. The Minnesota Vikings are playing well, man. They've won 3 of 4, and it's kind of crazy they're doing that without Justin Jefferson. I will say 2 of their wins are against bad teams, Chicago and Carolina. But last week, the win over San Francisco at home, that is as good as it comes in my book. That's as solid as a win gets. They competed with Kansas City. They did fall short, but I like what I saw from them in that game. Kansas City, I think, is still the best team in the AFC. So no harm, no foul there. Hey, this is a tough matchup for them to go into Lambeau Field and beat their division rival. Lambeau is always a tough place to play. The thing is, though, is this is not a good Green Bay Packers team. They've lost 4 or 5. Hell, they just lost to Denver It was out on the road, but the Green Bay Packers, I know the Green Bay Packers in recent memory, that's not a game they lose. Not to a bad team like that. Lost to the Raiders. Really weren't competitive against Detroit. Green Bay, I haven't liked what I've seen. Jordan Love has not been as good as advertised. I got to take the Minnesota Vikings in this one. I'm not going to overcomplicate it. They're just playing the much better football. We're getting them at a great price, too. I'm taking the Vikings straight up, money line, out on the road. Think they keep their division hopes alive. I really do. Next game up, man, we got the New Orleans Saints out on the road facing the Indianapolis Colts. Saints favored by 2.5 here in this one. And I'm not liking that, man. I'm taking the Indianapolis Colts plus the points, and here's why, man. You see it on your screen. The Saints are 1-5-1 ATS. They've been terrible against the spread, and I still think they're overvalued. They've also lost 4 of their last 5, and they've had some ugly losses in there as well. Green Bay, they should have won that game. Tampa, they weren't really even competitive there. Houston, that's a game they should have won, man. This is not really a good Saints football team. The Colts, on the other hand, I think they're undervalued. Why are they a home dog to the Saints? I don't understand it. We just saw them move the football on a better defense last week. The Saints defense is solid. I'm not saying they're not, but the Browns defense is better than the Saints defense, and the Colts just put up 38 at home on them last week. So I think that the Colts will be just fine trying to move the football on the Saints. And the Colts, man, they've competed in just about every game they've played, except for Jacksonville. That's a division game. If you know the history of that game, the home team always dominates, so that's not surprising. Other than that, competed with Tennessee, beat them boys, competed with the Rams, took them to overtime, beat the Ravens. I have liked what I've seen from the Colts. I still think they're underrated. Gardner Minshew is just fine in there as the starter. I mean, he's not the best guy in the league, but he's just fine to carry this football team, a run-heavy football team. Jonathan Taylor, Zach Moss, 2 good running backs, man. Zach Moss is still underrated. If you're a fantasy guy, you probably lost to him once or twice this year. I'm taking the Colts, man. I think they win this game. I think the Saints are overvalued. I think the Saints continue to be pretty bad. I think the Colts don't choke it like they did last week. They covered last week. They didn't win the game. They should have won the game. I think they win the game this week. I would look at grabbing the points and taking a money line, though, as I think they do show up at home. Next game up, we got the Philadelphia Eagles out on the road facing the Washington Commanders. Eagles laying a full touchdown in this one. And if you know anything about this series, then you know the Commanders are going to cover here. It's just how it goes. The Eagles are definitely the better team. The Eagles, I would say right now, are the number 1 team in the NFC. But this is just a bad sandwich spot. It just is. And the Commanders, if you know anything about this series, always play the Eagles tough. Hell, they beat them last year when the Eagles were unbeatable. They competed earlier this year, almost beat them outright earlier in Philly. And I think they play them tough again here in Washington. I know Philly looked really good last week against the Dolphins. Again, Philly is the best team currently in the NFC. I would not be surprised at all if they went on to make the Super Bowl again. But I just think this is an off week where laying 7 points is a bad spot. I can see them. That's just a lot of lumber to lay. I can see them winning by a field goal, walk off. I can see them winning by 4. I can see them winning by 6. Like, there's just too many possibilities for me to want to lay here with them on the road in a bad spot. It's a huge look ahead spot coming off of a game last week. They got them boys next week, so I just think it's a bad spot, man. I think the Commanders compete with them like they always do. I know the Commanders lost last week to the Giants, and they lost 4 or 5. But if you know anything about this, the Cowboys are in the NFC East, so this NFC East is my division. The Commanders, they always play the Eagles tough. They always play Dallas tough, and they always lose to the Giants. It's just what they do. It's just what they do. So I wouldn't be surprised if they win this game outright like they did last year. I think it's a stretch. I do think the Eagles escape narrowly, but I think grabbing the points with the Commanders is the right place to be. Getting a full touchdown. Give me Washington plus the points in this one. Next game up, we got the Cleveland Browns out on the road facing the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle laying 3.5 here in this one. Seattle has kind of flown under the radar a bit. 4-2, 4-2 against the number. They've been a moneymaker. I think it's time to hop off, though. I'm definitely grabbing the points with the Cleveland Browns in this one. The Browns, I think, are one of the best defenses in the NFL, and I think that's going to create a huge problem for Geno Smith. I like Geno Smith one interception. I like Geno Smith two interceptions. I think Myles Garrett is going to create a lot of havoc, just like he did last week. I don't know if you guys watch Colts Browns like I did last week. Colts was my top play plus the points, so I definitely was tuned in. But Myles Garrett was the best player on the field, and more often than not, man, he's the best player on the field. And I think he shows up, shows out again in this one. PJ Walker and that offense was solid. They put up 39 points and got the win in the end. It looked like they should have lost that game, but they didn't. They did end up winning it. I think they do enough here against Seattle. I think Seattle's now become a bit overvalued, and I think this hook looms large. Even if the Browns don't win it, I don't think the Seahawks win this game comfortably. I think if the Seahawks do win this game, they win it walking it off by a field goal. That's how I see it. But I think the Browns have a legitimate shot to win this game outright. And me personally, I love the 3.5, and I like the money line as well. I think PJ Walker and company can get this done. I gotta fade Geno against a good defense. I know they look good, but it's time to fade them. It's time to hop off the Seahawks. Give me the Browns plus the points. Here in this. All right. In our next matchup, we got the Baltimore Ravens out on the road facing the Arizona Cardinals. Ravens laying a big number, 9.5, and I could see this probably being 10 closer to kickoff. Ravens coming off of a great win last week, man. They beat up on the Detroit Lions. We were all over that. We saw that coming. The Lions were banged up. It was a bad spot, going cross country, playing a Ravens team that's out of conference. It just was a bad spot for the Lions last week. But shout out to the Ravens. We cashed that ticket. They took them boys behind the shed, 38-6. They've won 3 of 4. Solid win over Cleveland, beat up on them. Did what they needed to do against Tennessee. But we saw them lose out on the road to Pittsburgh, 17-10. They really struggled offensively in that one. And here's the thing. Off of that huge win, I don't want to lay double digits. It's simple. I don't want to lay double digits. And I'll be the first to tell you, I've been on the Cardinals too many times this year. With that being said, I'm going to be on them one more time. I'm riding the Cardinals train one more week. I think they do just enough to get the cover in this one. I'm serious. I think the Ravens win this game by 27-20 is really how I have this game. I got a 27-20. I think the Ravens win. I think the Cardinals cover. The Cardinals should have covered last week. Their kicker missed that field goal late in that game, a chip shot. That was disgusting. But I do think the Ravens are the better team. I'm not trying to sit here and tell you that the Cardinals are the better team or anything like that. I just think that they will compete. We have seen the Cardinals compete a lot of times this year. In every game they've played, I can make the argument the Cardinals have competed. Did they cover the spread in most of them? No, they're 3-4 ATS as you saw a few seconds ago. But I do think 9.5 is too many here. 27-20 is how I see this game. A comfortable win for the Ravens, a cover for the Cardinals. I got to fade Baltimore off that huge win last week. Come on, Arizona. Let's get this done. I'm going to take them here. Plus the points. Next game up, man, we got the Kansas City Chiefs out on the road facing the Denver Broncos. Kansas City laying 7 in this one. All right, here's what you need to know. I saw reports that there should be snow on the ground, a good amount of snow in this game, so take that for what you want. There should be no Taylor Swift at the game. She's prepping up for her tour, so she will not be there. Take that for what you want. And the Chiefs have just kicked the crap out of the Broncos in recent memory. Like, I can't even tell you the last time the Broncos have beaten the Chiefs. So take that as well for what you want. Here's what I think about this game. Short, sweet, simple. Taking the Kansas City Chiefs, I'm laying the points. I don't think any of those things I said at the top matter. Maybe a little bit. But I do think the Chiefs are just head and shoulders better than the Broncos. A win over the Packers doesn't move the needle at all for me for the Broncos. We just saw this matchup 2 weeks ago. I know it was in Kansas City, but still. What was the score now? 19-8. I think this one is going to be 21-7. Something really similar, lower scoring game. I just think the Chiefs are head and shoulders better than the Broncos. I think the Broncos' struggles continue. I don't see the Broncos' offense moving the football all that much on this Chiefs defense like they did in the first game. Um, Chiefs, for me, I think they keep it rolling. Give me Kansas City. I'm going to lay the wood here in this one. All right, next game up, I think, is one of the best games this weekend. We got the Cincinnati Bengals out on the road facing the San Francisco 49ers. This game makes me nervous, though, because I do like the Bengals, but it is really, really public, and I could definitely see it going the other way, but I still like Cincinnati. Here's my thoughts in this one. I have loved what I've seen from Cincinnati. They've won 3 of their last 4. They've just taken care of business, beating up on Seattle, who's been playing really well. Did what they needed to do against Arizona, won that game 2 touchdowns. They did hiccup against Tennessee, but I like what I saw of them against the Rams. They did get the win in the end. They're playing the better football right now. The problem is I still think the Niners are the better team. I know the Niners have lost back-to-back weeks. Both of those were on the road, though. Last time we seen them at home, they beat up on a really, really good team. My favorite team, the Cowboys. I'm talking about took them boys behind the shed, 42-10. The Niners are still the better team right now today in this matchup. They're just kind of banged up. Debo will not play. Trent Williams is questionable. McCaffrey will go, though. I think Purdy has a better game than he had. The books seem to like San Francisco because they're comfortable here moving this line back up to 5.5. The public's all over the Niners. All over Cincinnati. I'm going to have to join the public, man. I like Cincinnati in this one as well. If the Niners win, I think they win max by 4. I do. 31-28 type game, I think Cincy has a legitimate shot to win it outright, though. Joe Shiesty, Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase and company. T. Higgins getting back healthy. I have liked what I've seen from Cincinnati. This is a team that we saw struggle early in the year last year and then did, similar to what they're doing now, go on a tear the rest of the year. So I'm not surprised at all. They were getting similar lines kind of like this last year as well. I gotta take the Bengals here in this one. I'm not gonna overcomplicate it. I would not be surprised if the Niners won by 7 or more. I'm telling you, I would not be surprised. But in my gut, I gotta roll with Joe Burrow. I gotta roll with the Bengals and company at this number. I think they have a legitimate shot to win it outright, and I'm gonna roll with them plus the points here in this one. Next game up, man, we got the Chicago Bears out on the road facing the Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers laying a big number, 8.5 here in this one. Early in the week, I was leaning Chicago. I've slept since then. I thought it through. And I said, hell no, I'm not taking Chicago, man. So short, sweet, simple. I'm taking the Los Angeles Chargers in this one. I think they're just flat out the better team. The Bears are a bad football team. They've been that for 2 seasons in a row. They're starting a backup quarterback. Although I will say, Bagnett last week, he didn't wreck the car like Justin Fields does more often than not. He kind of just did what he needed to do. Handed the football off, let the running game take care of it, and, they end up getting the dub. I don't think that's the case here, though. I think they get embarrassed on Sunday Night Football, in all honesty. I think the Chargers use this as a bounce-back game. Hell, they've just lost to 2 really good teams, the Cowboys and the Chiefs in back-to-back weeks. Before that, they had beat the teams they were supposed to, Minnesota, Las Vegas. I think they beat up on another team they're supposed to. And they probably, for a rare time, do it comfortably and cover the point spread. They're not one of the best covered teams in the NFL. They do cover sometimes, and I think this is one of those spots. I can't take the Bears here. They're still one of the worst teams in the NFL. They're probably like 30-31 in my mind in the NFL. Give me the Chargers. Short, sweet, simple. I'm going to lay the points with them at home as I think they go crazy Sunday Night Football. Last game of the week, we got the Las Vegas Raiders out on the road facing the Detroit Lions. Detroit laying 8 at home in a standalone game, and the Lions don't get a lot of these. And I think they show out here, man. I know they got embarrassed last week out on the road against the Ravens, but I told y'all all week that was a terrible spot for the for the Detroit Lions. They were banged up going out on the road facing an AFC opponent. Now it's kind of reversed. They're at home. They're less banged up, and they got an AFC opponent coming in, standalone game. I'm telling you, this building is going to be on 1 million. Like, the fans in Detroit are excited about their team as they should be. And I think they're head and shoulders better than this Las Vegas Raiders team. We just saw the Raiders get their doors blown off last week by the Chicago Bears. If they can lose to the Bears with the backup quarterback, they sure as hell can lose to the Detroit Lions at the crib by 8. I know that's not the best handicap, but I'm telling you, that's how I see it. And I come on here and tell you guys how I see it. So, short, sweet, simple for me. I'm taking the Detroit Lions. I think they bounce back at the crib. Big Al came on the jam session live earlier in the week and said basically the premise of what he was saying is good teams that lose a one-off game like they did last week usually bounce back in a big way in that next week, and I think that's exactly what we're looking at here. Give me the Lions, land the 8 here at home. Here in this. And that's going to conclude my NFL jam session. I appreciate every last one of y'all watching this video. Smash that like button for your guy, man. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Follow me on Twitter. There's a link in the description as well. My premium plays are over at Pickdawgz Premium. There's a link in the description for that as well. Let's make some money, man. Let's keep it rolling in the NFL. Again, we've been profitable these last few weeks. Let's keep it rolling. My NBA jam session will be posted in the morning, so you guys can catch that as well. Cover the 6 NBA games as well, so you can catch that. I appreciate every last one of y'all. Let's make some money this weekend. It's been your guy, Jay Briggs, man. I'll see y'all soon. I'm out of here.